Now we're talking through the import and US customs clearance process. You've bid on the vehicle, you've won, you've exported the vehicle, you've shipped the vehicle, now you need to import it. At this point, you could be 100 yards away from your vehicle on a lot somewhere, but it is gonna be behind a tall fence with a bunch of paperwork between you and there. If somehow you haven't used an import broker up to this point, get an import broker, no question. You need them to help you get this car into the United States. I wouldn't know how you would have even got it off the boat at this point if you hadn't telex surrendered your bill of lading, but if you haven't, get an importer right now. And keep in mind, any errors at this point could mean seizing the car, it could mean a mountain of fines. Don't DIY it, just find a good import broker. We've touched on this in the past few steps, but this is where it becomes really important that your ISF has been filed. That form, which kind of translates from your bill of lading form, all the stuff that you've deregistered from Japan, all of that goes to your import broker who will file and make sure your ISF is correct. And again, big fines there if it's not done right. So it's key that you have your ISF filed at this point. Along with the ISF, you've got your EPA and DOT forms that you need to file. Your import broker will typically provide them to you and you will need to fill in a few fields. You may have to also give your broker a power of attorney. Feels a little weird, but I did it. There's been no issues. Again, go with somebody reputable. This is where that step one investigation really comes into play. With the EPA and DOT forms, we have examples in the app to go look at on what you might need to fill out, typically what each field means, how you can look it over to help you kind of translate what is a government form into something that's a little more human readable. And with those EPA and DOT forms, of course, it's going to cost you money to submit them. And with submitting that money, don't forget there is a duty on all goods that come into the United States. That duty is 2.5% and you need to pay that before that vehicle will be released to you. Your import broker can help you work through the process of paying that 2.5% duty. For example, on a $50,000 car that you have imported, it's about $1,250. Use our calculator in our app to help you figure that out and plan for the amount. Now, pretty new to this process is the tariffs that we have imposed on goods from Japan, and this applies to vehicles. This is kind of rough. There is a 25% tariff on a vehicle being imported from Japan to the United States. That wasn't the case when I did this Supra, it was long enough ago, but now it is something that you need to keep in mind when importing a vehicle. So for that same $50,000 car, that tariff means you're spending an extra $12,500 on top of your 2.5% tariff. It's something to keep in mind, it's something in the calculator, it's something you want to budget for. When you're doing that research in step one, it's something you want to think about if a vehicle is going to be cheaper here or a vehicle that's similar, with a similar chassis, is it worth it to import? Keep that in mind. Now, I know from personal experience, it seems like we've gone through a lot of paperwork at this point. We're at step 5 out of 6, but I have built in a checklist to the application that you can step through. It's got all of your required forms. I know when I went, I had 2 or 3 copies of every single form. And there are some forms we haven't necessarily talked about in the guide that you may or may not need. Some folks said I would need them, some folks said I wouldn't, but there are things like an English translation of all of your forms that you might have gotten in Japan. You might need things like that along the way, and those are all in the required forms checklist in the app. So go ahead into the application and take a look at what's there. And the upside to having this application as opposed to just following along in videos is that I can update it. So if new forms come in or if tariff amounts change, I can update all of that there. So check back if you have questions or concerns or you want to cross-reference what you've seen online elsewhere, go to the guide and check it out. At this point, you should almost have your vehicle. You should be able to clear customs as long as you have filed all of your paperwork, you have paid every individual you need to pay along the way. Your import broker will help you with both of those things. If there's any disconnect, the import broker is vital for this. Doing it yourself is nearly impossible. Also doesn't hurt to call the yard and make sure that they don't have any additional fees that you need to pay. This happened to me. I had to pay just to have had my car there for a few days. They wanted some money. Not super surprising. It was a very small amount. It was like $10 a day or something, but everybody is going to require money along the way. Keep that in mind. It's what our calculator is for. Keep a little money set aside for miscellaneous fees. Now let's talk about how you actually get your vehicle.